Are we good?
Yes. My arms are a little bit slow today. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah, we both worked out. Yeah,
Yeah. We're on that workout grind. And it's
I
like,
know.
what? It's in April. It's 4 months after the new year.
It's 4 months
Wow.
after the new year, and if you're Cambodian, it's coming up to the new year.
Yeah, right?
And what, a couple, how many more months until Anime Expo? Four more?
Yeah. I haven't even gotten tickets yet.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to do it, but we were talking about ideas of cosplay, and
Eventually.
eventually, it would be kind of cool if I did Ida, and then I had the thought. I don't even know if I ever told you this. You could do Ochako, and then
hmm
as like we could do like one podcast where you dress up as Ochako and Ida.
I'm down. I'm down. I have a uniform.
Do you have the uniform?
Yeah.
How much did it cost?
I don't remember, but I
It sounds like
have
a
it.
lot.
I have the original uniform.
Okay. Anyway, so that was a cold open.
Hello.
And welcome to episode 4. And we're wearing completely different clothes.
We're actually on a different day
Yeah,
now.
actually on a different day. Minus one audience member.
Oh,
Remember?
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so we're gonna talk about episode 7 and 8. So we're coming off of The Boy Born with Everything.
hmm
So the previous episode was a lot about Todoroki and kind of like the revelations he has about how he got his scar,
Right.
and not like a Joker situation, just kind of like, he got his scar through like a family situation.
At least you actually know what Todoroki. You don't know anything about the Joker.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah.
Side note, sorry.
Side note. And this episode we're gonna do episode 7 of season 2 is victory or defeat, and so we're coming off the coattails of the battle that Deku and Shinso has.
Yes.
And the previous episode, we kind of start at the battle, and it kind of ends as a cliffhanger. And so we return to this episode with Deku trapped in a trance with the battle against his opponent Shinzo. Um, Present Mike, the one that's commentating this battle, um, attributes his trance as part of Shinso's quirk, which is called brainwashing, as we
hmm
learned a little bit in this episode. And Deku starts to walk off the arena. And as he does so, All Might is kind of like waiting in the wings. And Deku kind of sees a vision of several different people. And from what I've heard, these are kind of like the interpretations of all the people that had the all for one, like the one for all quirk. So that's what I thought it was. I
hmm
wasn't sure if you had any other thoughts about it, but um, after getting out of the trance, Deku remembers not to say any word to Shinzo, and proceeds to
He just like.
freaking uppercuts him. Right? Yeah, I haven't seen in this. Yeah, and then Deku proceeds to get to the next round. And Deku kind of like asks Shinzo about like what makes him, you know, his drive to become a hero.
hmm
I guess it's just like a normal conversation, you know. I guess in this universe, it's like what makes you want to do this line of work. And I think um, he just says he cannot basically stop the thing that what he desires to do, and becoming a hero is what he desires to do. And then Deku kind of remembers like his drive to become kind of like the best hero and do all the things he sets himself out to do. Yeah,
hmm
and then I think at the end of that match, it's like I think they both kind of like come together as like they have like a mutual respect for one another. So score 1 for Deku and making friends in this episode, and then later we see Todoroki and his dad having like a little um, talk,
hmm
and kind of like a reassuring that Todoroki does not want to win through his dad's quirk, which is the fire part of him,
hmm
and that like Endeavor thinks that this is like some kind of childlike rebellion, and it wants Todoroki to stop, you know, and to use his full powers. But Shoto is very intent on showing to his dad that he can do this without having to use his dad's quirk.
hmm
and kind of reminds us about remember the episode we did before this is like that post that someone put that Todoroki is just having to figure out his issues with his dad.
Yep.
And to be honest, from what I've heard up to this point, it's kind of justified. You know, there's a lot of like things going on with Todoroki
Mm-hmm.
that I feel like, oh yeah, he needs to kind of prove himself, and it really pisses him off. So you kind of see this into the next match, which is Todoroki versus Shiro, which is the person that has the tape quirk. Battle begins. Todoroki uses his ice attack and totally like engulfs the arena in ice. And the guy Shiro is like, "Do you think this is kind of like overkill? Like we get it, you're
It's kind of
powerful."
sad when he like comes up to him slowly. He just goes, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that." And
Yeah,
he
it's
just
just kind of
starts,
slowly
like...
melting him off. And he just says, "It's like Midnight is like, can you move?" It's like, "Do you think I could move?" and and then yeah, like you said, he's like, "I'm sorry for what I've done," but he says it in a way it's like, because I'm mad.
Mm.
So yeah, this episode is just just continuation of Deku basically fighting Shinzo, and we're learning about everybody's quirk. And this episode more is kind of like a like an understanding of what Todoroki's going through,
Mm-hmm.
and like how much his dad is like something that he doesn't want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then later in these episodes, we kind of get a much more deeper understanding. Like in the next episode we're gonna do, like we're gonna really understand why Todoroki feels the way he is about his dad.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you feel about this episode?
I
From what you remembered.
No, I recently rewatched some of it, so I kind of have like a slight fresh memory on it.
Right.
I do like, I guess, Deku's fight with Shinzo.
Mm-hmm.
I think more so just because it kind of hints that there'll be more history about the power of all for one. No, one for all.
Yeah.
And the illusion that there are other entities that are a part of the power, and it kind of like illustrates the fact that this power is something that's not built on just one person. It's built on the support of others. And I think that's very tied and ingrained with Deku's character as a person.
Yeah.
Because, he did come from not having anything, really.
Yeah.
And having this power kind of builds up on the fact that it's not really just him supporting himself. It's him supporting himself with the help of the other people that are around him, like Ochako and
Ida and like All Might, really kind of like focusing on like, oh, I want you to succeed and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that really ties in with his character. Shinzo, I think, also is like a pretty interesting character. I'd like to see more of him in the future.
From what I remembered is like from his character development and like from his previous school, it was kind of sounded like he could be like a villain that can manipulate people.
Yeah.
But I think by the fact that there's this outwardly appearance that he has, that he doesn't want to just fall into the identity of a villain. And I think that's why he's so intent on becoming a hero. And I kind of get that because he has a perceived notion and like a perceived look to him. He kind of looks a little villainy because like, the bags and the hair and everything. But I could understand like he wants to be something that people don't expect him to be, and I kind of understand that as an audience member. It's like, oh yeah, I could get behind that. Also, to the thought of the that was my stomach.
I didn't hear it. I'm
okay, good. But like with the people in like that hallway scene, that kind of reminds me a little bit of Black Panther. Remember? Have you seen Black Panther?
I have, yeah.
Yeah. Remember that little soul realm where he goes to see his like dad and like all the stuff? It kind of reminds me of that in the sense that he gets to see all the leaders together. Like some connection to another hero property and like superhero situation. I just thought, okay, there's like a little connection there, but it's very tenuous, and But
I want to say really fast too. Going back to Shinzo really fast. I kind of want to see more characters like him. Like, I think that's one thing that a lot of like shows don't really look into. Like, what if you had someone who you can stereotypically see as a villain, but they don't want to be that?
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of, I guess, stories that can be explored in that realm, especially in this day and age when
Yeah.
we're all like, we're looking at people and saying a lot more of the time, like, don't judge a book by its cover, not
Yeah.
unless you start knowing everything about the person,
Mhm.
understanding them and stuff. And I think with a character like Shinzo, you would be able to do a lot of that, you know.
Mhm.
If they ever decide to kind of bring him back into the show, it'd be really interesting to see maybe some more history on him, or
Mhm.
how he's gotten to the point of being like, I want to be a hero.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but even then, like this series is kind of like Game of Thrones now, where it's just like there's so many people to try to keep track of. So it's just
Oh,
like you
okay,
kinda
that's
have,
what you meant. I thought you meant everyone dying.
No, not everybody dying. But I am expecting, because like third season of like anime or like when it gets well established, there's gonna be people that's gonna kick the bucket.
Don't say that yet.
I don't know. Well, I don't know if there's. I haven't seen season 3 yet, so I don't know. Like, I'm only coming across because Fullmetal Alchemist had people die. Ruby had people die.
Oh God.
And like what, Cowboy Bebop, it assumed that Spike dies in the end.
Just anime, you know, you never expect anyone to live longer than a span of like maybe 30, 40.
30 or 40 like seconds.
And then you're just kind of like, all right, time to kick the bucket. Let's go. It's gone. Where'd they go?
Yeah, that's when there's a lot of red shirt characters. Yeah. Anyway, so I don't know. I thought this episode is is a big setup to the next episode, but going off to the next one, the episode 8 is called Battle on Challengers, and this episode specifically is like a lot of the characters are going through their battles, and we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost 6. We almost see 6 different battles.
It's like really fast going.
Yeah, really fast paced. And the first battle is between Kaminari and Shinozaki.
Is that the girl with the green hair?
Yeah, it's the girl with the green hair. And then Kaminari is like his normal self trying to hit on her.
That's like him and Mineta. They're always
together like that. They're just like, hey, what's
hit and see a girl? Where? Hello?
and we kind of see Shinozaki as like a very virtuous character. Present Mike, introduce her as like an assassin, and then she has to like try to correct him. It's like, I'd rather not be called an assassin because of my virtuous nature and stuff like that. And she looks like very heavenly and stuff. I was just like, okay, all right, I can see.
She's always just
always like this, and I was like, okay. And then Kaminari is his normal self, just hitting on her and just like, hey, after this battle, you and me, what's up? Let's go.
Exactly.
And then Kaminari attacks, and then Shinozaki gets her hair, pushes it down and above, and then captures Kaminari. And I guess Kaminari uses his quirk a lot at one time, and basically immobilizes himself. Yeah. And so he just kind of whenever he goes that way, like loses his mind, he kind of reminds me of One Punch.
Yeah.
And then apparently One Punch Man is now on its 2nd season right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is.
The 4th match is Ida and Hatsume, which is the girl that has like all the
pink hair.
The pink hair. I call the steampunk Tony Stark.
Yes, there you go.
But at the beginning of the match, and by the way, this is like the match that I really kind of latched onto as like the funniest part of this episode. And Ida gets scolded by Midnight for having gear that wasn't submitted before the match, prior to the match. And then Ida argues that the gear was loaned to him by his opponent, Hatsume. Sorry. And Midnight allows this last minute change, and the battle continues. But when the battle starts, Hatsume uses her gear as a way to kind of like give like this infomercial type speech about her gear and ability. And I thought it was the most funniest thing ever, because everybody kind of like, what is going on? She's just talking the whole time. She has like a microphone up to her mouth, and she's talking about how her skills like this, and like you could get equipped with this technology and stuff like that. And I thought it was the funniest thing ever.
She's basically the Billy Mays guy or the
Yeah,
Shazam guy.
exactly. And it's like she has a very like, but wait, there's more. And then Ida keeps on getting tripped up, and at the end, she basically walks off the field, and then Ida's like, "You tricked me." And then Ida moves to the next round. The fifth match is Ashido and Aoyama, which is it's I forgot which characters these were.
Aoyama is the belt man.
It's the belt dude, and the Ashido is like the pink skin alien.
Yes, right.
Yeah, there you go. Sorry. Froppy is rooting for Ashindo, Ashindo, right? And then while Mineta is rooting for Aoyama. I really hope I'm pronouncing these things correctly.
It's the thought. It's the effort.
I'm trying. I'm really trying. Aishino uses smoke. That was caused by Aoyama's belt. Like so, basically, he's shooting projectiles from his belt, which is basically his kind of like belly button crotch area.
Yeah.
And then and uses like a surprise attack where she kind of takes off her clothes, forcing Aoyama to think that she's still there, but she comes out of nowhere and then does like a surprise attack, and then Aoyama uses his belt to his limit, and then it actually gives him a stomach ache, which is actually really funny.
Yeah.
Just the thought of that was it, because I guess his quirk is just that, and basically Ashido gives like Aoyama an uppercut, and she proceeds to the next round, and I thought, okay, this is moving because a lot of these matches are going one after the other. The sixth match is Momo Yorozumi and Fumikage Tokoyami, and it's Yorozumi uses her quirk to build a shield, but Tokoyami uses Dark Shadow to give like a barrage of attacks that really pushes her out of bounds, and then Tokoyami moves into the next round. Seventh round, Kirishima and Tetsu. They both have very similar quirks.
They're just the same person.
They're the same person. One actually can physically go hard, and the other one is like a steel kind of quirk. And they just end up like putting themselves out of bounds, or like it ends as a draw. And then Midnight calls it, and then the contest would be decided by an arm wrestling contest. I thought that was really funny. And then after this pseudo montage of like each battle, we kind of reach towards the end of this episode, which is Ochako's kind of dilemma, which, you know, her kind of like group and like kind of tribe of friends like Deku, Ida, and like Ochako kind of like sits together, waiting for her battle between her and Bakugo. But instead of asking for advice from Deku or Ida, she refuses and says that she'll do her best to defeat Bakugo on her own. And the episode kind of ends with Ochako and Bakugo entering the arena. So I think this episode was really good in the sense of like it has like a lot of action. There's a lot of humor coming from learning these different characters' kind of personalities, and which I kind of really like too, because these aren't just kind of like stale heroes. You know what I mean? There's a lot of like there's a lot of personality in each character.
Was there any side character that you felt like it kind of stuck out to you in your mind?
The Ida and the Hatsume not episode, the fight really stood out because she has a lot of like character come oozing out of that that sort of scene, and I think I had the most laughs in this episode, and people thinking I'm crazy at LA Fitness.
Oh,
because I watch a lot of these episodes in LA Fitness.
We're just like
yeah, I'm like running on the treadmill and just like, oh my god, this is funny. And then there was one time I actually kind of tripped up a little bit. Not because it was funny, because part of the episode was really sad.
Oh.
And I was just all like, don't break. I'm in public.
You're just like...
You're like, I'm on a treadmill, but I don't want to. I'm on an emotional time bomb on a treadmill.
Just like the tears slowly streaming down your face.
But what did you think of this episode?
Um, I liked watching some of the other characters fight.
Mm-hmm.
I found it very interesting to see some of their powers like working with each other because at this point, I think I was really invested in a lot of the other characters. And obviously, there was like Deku, who you know a lot about, and
Yeah.
you know a lot
A lot of
about,
the 1A characters.
or a
Yeah.
lot of the main ones, yeah. But like I at that point hadn't really remembered any of the other 1A characters just because it was
Mm-hmm.
hard to actually notice them because they were always in kind of like a school setting.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know? So being able to watch them actually put their fighting to use,
Mm-hmm.
it was really interesting to see their powers working, how they kind of used the space they were in to their advantage.
Mhm.
I do really like Hatsume's where she's just kind of like, and there's more,
Yeah.
and then shows off new thing, and then walks, and then you just see Ida tripping off to the side.
Yeah.
Aside from that,
It kind of shows that there's a lot of care that was put into crafting these characters. There's a lot of thought that goes through each character design, what they can do, what abilities they show, you know, because previous episodes, like, you're not seeing the full extent of Todoroki, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what they can do on their maximum situation or what they can do at the least, you know? So there's a lot of thought in these characters, and that's what I really enjoy about this series is that each character seems very well developed, you know?
I will say, I think when I was looking at the roster of the match lineups and stuff like that, right? I was thinking, all of these other characters, I can't really predict where they're going, to be quite honest. Excuse me. I did kind of feel like I would be able to predict correctly when it came to Deku and Shinzo, but I still was kind of surprised by the outcome. But like with this particular episode, right? Like almost every single match, I was just kind of like, I don't really know where it's going to go. But
I was kind of surprised between, the match between Yorozumi. Wait, no.
oh,
sorry.
Yayorozu.
Yarurozu and Tokoyami. I thought she was gonna get it.
Oh,
That was my initial thought, and then
I did think that
Tokoyami,
too.
yeah, and Tokoyami's Dark Shadow kind of like basically just like used this like barrage attack, which I don't know if we saw before. I don't think so.
I think it shows kind of her character a little bit, you know,
Yeah.
just more so.
And she wasn't really hard on herself for losing. She was just like, well, you know, I wasn't expecting that attack, and so I'll learn for the next time, you know.
I think for her, right?
Yeah.
What can I say about this? 'Cause I do know what happens.
Oh, okay.
No, nothing
Nothing
like,
too spoilery?
no.
Yeah.
It's just more so kind of like, she does kind of like, it looks like beat herself up for it eventually.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of comes with her, like, how she is. Because when she first came into the show, right, she was one of the people who got in through, like, recommendation with Todoroki. So she was, like, at the top of her class.
Right.
And from what her character, like, is characterized as, it
Right.
seems like she's very much very book smart, but doesn't know how to apply it into the circumstances yet.
Yeah, it seems like in her mind she has like a set of notes and like, oh, I could do this with this ability and this moment and this situation.
Basically, I think she's underestimating herself. But besides the point.
Okay.
I do think that like I said, a lot of the matches I was just like, I'm not really sure where they'll go. But like obviously with now, you know, we're being set up for the fight with Bakugo and Ochako, I'm just kinda like
Which is basically the name of the next episode, Bakugo versus Uraraka.
yeah, and I'm just like, I know. I feel like I know where this is going, and I'm gonna be depressed.
Yeah, and so I guess let's take a few moments because we're leading up to the end of this episode to kind of like talk about the next two episodes or like basically predict. So yeah, remember at the beginning part of the season where I was like, I want Ochaka to get it.
Yeah.
She's gonna be up against Bakugo.
Yeah, but
I really don't know if she could pull this off, you know, against Bakugo.
Bakugo is a very formidable character.
And really kind of like ferocious in the sense that he is like his ends kind of like justifies the means, I guess. He's very that type of character where it's like, I'm gonna do this regardless.
Yeah, as a disclaimer, we were talking about this off screen, but we mentioned that Bakugo is kind of like this character that doesn't necessarily have like a really good characterization. Not like he doesn't have depth or anything, but the way that he's characterized is seen as very like
he's one-track minded.
He's also you described him as being like you're like why?
Yeah, and I get it. He, in a sense that he wants to be the best hero, but he's doing it in such a way that he's just gonna like burn, pun intended, burn all the bridges that he can potentially make, and it's just like, why?
I'm gonna save my comments about him for the next episode, but I think he's a very tenacious character. Yeah, like I think if anything, one of his good traits that could be said about him is that he just has like a strong drive to win.
Yeah.
Even though
he's his character. Yeah.
It's like he burns everything in his path, but like he does it for the sake of like I want to be the best person out there or the best version of himself.
Yeah. And I think to some degree Ochako kind of has a similar thing, I think we learned a little bit before this that she's doing this for helping her family, you know what I mean? Using her quirk to have her family like have a better life. It's just the thing is how far she's gonna take that in the next episode to do that, because Bakugo is the way he is for the reasons he is, and then Ochako is the person she is in the way that she is. So you're having this big conflict between these very, very, I gotta be honest, very formidable characters, just comparing the quirks themselves,
I think if we were to look at them as like characters based on their personalities and stuff like that, right? They're very evenly matched because their reasonings for winning are just you can understand and relate to both, but like on a power level scale, you're just kind of like,
I'm thinking that Bakugo is gonna try to kill Ochako or something.
Jesus.
There's just so much power going through him, but Ochako having that kind of dilemma of like she feels that she's been relying on other characters to get to where she's at, and she wants to prove herself as a hero. I kind of understand that.
Yeah, I think it's a very commendable part about her character in this show. I think Ida did it first, right?
Ida did it first, and I was just like, what the hell, Ida? And then now I'm to the point in this episode that I'm like, oh, I'm starting to get it. Each of these characters are basically trying to show them that they're worthy of becoming a hero. In whatever shape or form, that they show that, So
I think it's cool to watch how like these characters are kind of just building their own personalities and character throughout the show. You get a lot of times where you watch some animes and you see that some of these character development arcs are based around the main character of that anime, but I think with this show in particular, they do have a lot of things that surround Deku, but like a lot of these characters can stand on their own.
Yeah, and like this series, in a sense, almost like Game of Thrones, is like you can identify with not just a main character, but like with a series of characters and like how they present themselves and what they stand for. So I guess that being said, I think. We're reaching that almost 30-minute mark, but that being said, I guess we'll just end it here.
It's time.
It is time to end.
Say goodbye.
What's that from?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Some repressed memory from Kalani.
No, it's like an opera song, isn't
it? Les Miserables or something? I don't know.
That's
probably no, it's probably not.
I don't remember.
Anyways, our failed attempt at singing. We'll see you in the next episode. So in the comments, like, subscribe, do all the things. You sounded like Froppy's voice actress for a sec.
Subscribe.
Anyways.
Quiero.
That's awesome.
Anyways, we'll see you in the next episode.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.